Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. Steffy finds Luna and Finn together, but Liam doesn't tell Bill. According to Monday, May 12th spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Liam Spencer will keep Bill Spencer in the dark while Steffy Forrester will catch Luna Nozawa and John Finn Finnegan together. After their recent altercation, Bill and Liam will exchange apologies over a table at Il Giardino. Liam will thank Bill for molding him into the man he is today and maintain that life is too short to allow a quarrel to ruin their relationship. That will be the sweetest thing anyone has ever said to Bill, and he will thank Liam for inspiring him to be a better man as well. Bill acknowledges that he can't image his life without Liam, therefore there will be some endearing moments. Regarding Liam's resignation, Bill will not accept it and will predict that Liam will run Spencer Publications going forward. Liam won't inform Bill about his brain tumor, which is incurable, but he will smile sadly because he clearly won't live long enough for that. At one point, Sheila Sharp, Kimberlyn Brown, would interrupt Bill and Liam's chat to express her gratitude to Bill for securing Luna's pardon. Sheila won't be so certain about Luna and Finn's ability to bond, even though Bill will act as like everything is set in stone. Luna, who believes Finn wants to know her as well, will want to get to know him as her father at the Cliff House. Finn will tell Luna that she is an adult who has committed terrible things and point out that they cannot turn back. But Luna will believe Steffy is the reason Finn is avoiding her and will continue to beg for a chance to develop a genuine relationship. Finn will not back down and make it plain that Luna is not welcome to return. Steffy will enter the room and demand explanations after Finn says they will never be together. They will soon have to explain themselves since Steffy will be furious to see Luna and Finn together in their own house. Liam will then wonder what's wrong when Hope calls him back to Brooke Logan's, Catherine Kelly Lang, house in Monday's B&B episode. Hope would next discuss having some introspection and recognizing that she had taken Liam's love for granted. In addition to pointing out that they both made mistakes, Liam will reassure Hope that she didn't. Talk about Beth Spencer, Jordan Grace, and the amazing child they created together will come up. Before they embrace, Liam will reassure Hope that he would always be by her side, but they will find it difficult to conceal their feelings from one another. The weight of these potent scenes will be increased when Hope refuses to reveal that she is aware of Liam's impending terrible fate. A furious altercation breaks out as Steffy captures Finn and Luna at the Cliff House. When Steffy from The Bold and Beautiful arrives at the Cliff home, she witnesses a startling exchange between her husband Finn and Luna, the woman who abducted and harassed her. This treachery sets in a fiery altercation that threatens to end Steffy and Finn's marriage after everything Luna has done. Will this be the tipping point? The explosive Cliff House confrontation fans have been awaiting. Steffy catches Finn with Luna. Reading the spoilers for Monday's upcoming episode of The Bold and the Beautiful had me spit out my coffee faster than I think I've ever done in my life. The long-awaited confrontation is now here, and it will be far more explosive than we could have ever dreamed. Yes, Steffy Forrester is going to interrupt her husband Finn as he has a private conversation with Luna Nozawa, the person who kidnapped her, imprisoned her, and attempted to steal her identity in its entirety. Nobody saw the Cliff House ambush coming. My sources at CBS claim that in Monday's episode, Luna makes what may be the most audacious move in soap opera history by showing up at the Cliff House uninvited when Steffy is away in an attempt to establish a father-daughter bond with Finn. Like, really? This woman's courage. It was revealed that Luna, for those who might have missed the background drama, was Finn's biological daughter from a one-night fling with Poppy Nozawa, who, ironically, is also his aunt. However, Luna used the stereotypical soap villain approach of kidnapping Steffy, putting her in a cage, and attempting to really take over her life, instead of, I guess, sending a courteous email to introduce herself. And she wants to invite her family to supper now? Please, girl. According to my on-set spy, Lisa Yamada is giving these sequences her all effort, which makes Luna's desperate attempt to get close to Finn nearly likable. However, Tanner Novlin really comes into his own when he plays Finn's mixed emotions, the traditional soap opera battle between his biological ties and the woman he loves. The volcanic eruption of Steffy. My production insider said that Jacqueline McInnes would give a performance so intense that they almost had to summon the fire department to the set. Just when Luna believes she might be moving forward with Finn, Steffy enters the scene. My source says, it's like watching a nuclear bomb explode in slow motion the moment Steffy sees Luna standing in her living room, talking to her husband. Jam absolutely devours the scenery, she doesn't just chew it. But can we hold her accountable? Imagine discovering the lady who abducted you, attempted to take your identity, and terrified your family enjoying a warm conversation with your husband in your own home. I would be throwing furniture out of windows. I've heard that Steffy will respond in a way that has never been witnessed from her before. According to one crew member, it was the perfect storm of Taylor Hayes' protective instincts and Stephanie Forrester's rage all rolled into one epic explosion. Folks, this isn't going to be a simple catfight. There will be a reckoning. Once more, Finn was caught in the middle. Finn, poor guy. Has any soap opera husband ever found himself torn between such complex family relationships? His biological daughter is now directly following in Grandma's footsteps after his biological mother, Sheila Carter, was revealed to be a known psychopath. In this household, the apple doesn't just fall near the tree, it smashes through the roof and detonates upon impact. Finn will say that he and Luna would never have a relationship in Monday's episode, right before Steffy enters. Let's face it, though, the harm has already been done. It says volumes that he let Luna inside their house despite all that she had done to Steffy. Following Finn's tough stance and reminding Luna that she cannot simply return to their home, this showdown ensues. According to my sources, Tanner Novlin delivers these lines with unexpected power, suggesting that Finn may have finally grown up to the idea that his biological family crosses boundaries. Is it too late or too little? Steffy appears to think so, at least. The Sheila connection that no one is discussing. What the other soap bloggers aren't talking about is that Sheila also stops Bill and Liam's conversation in Monday's episode to thank Bill for having Luna pardoned. Furthermore, Sheila isn't so sure about Luna and Finn's romance, whereas Bill believes it is over. I see foreshadowing in this screams. Is this all being planned by Sheila? Is Luna's unexpected presence a component of Grandma's larger scheme to re-enter Finn's life? I've said it before and I'll say it again, this family has strong Sheila genes. They have a deep-rooted tendency toward manipulation, boundary violations, and a complete reluctance to accept rejection. The future will astonish everyone. What consequences might we anticipate from the dramatic altercation on Monday? These possible developments are hinted at by my production sources. Steffy might give Finn a heartbreaking ultimatum, decide between her and any romance with Luna. Luna might side with Sheila in an attempt to get close to Finn. Finn might be discovered to have misled Steffy about the meeting's lack of planning. Steffy might experience flashbacks to her horrific abduction at Luna's hands as a result of this. This will not be a one-and-done showdown, that much is certain. The consequences could jeopardize Steffy and Finn's marriage once more, and they will be felt for weeks to come. Do you recall when Steffy left because of the Sheila drama? On soap operas, history has a curious habit of repeating itself, so I wouldn't be shocked if we were on the verge of another shin split. Spectators are already selecting sides. Even though the show hasn't aired yet, social media is exploding with fan reactions based just on the spoilers. One ardent follower wrote yesterday, "I'm done with Finn as a character if he doesn't immediately throw Luna out and beg for Steffy's forgiveness." Am I the only one who notices similarities to when Taylor walked in on Ridge with Brooke back in the day, commented another fan. History will be repeated by the Forresters. Fans are supporting Jam's character and her quite justifiable rage, and the hashtag Team Steffy is already trending. However, a tiny but loud minority of viewers are actually supporting Luna, arguing that Finn should be permitted to date his daughter in spite of her problematic past. To which I reply, identity theft, cage, kidnapping, hello? My own take. After more than 2 decades of watching B&B, I must admit that this conflict has been intensifying ever before we discovered Luna was Finn's daughter. This slow-burning eruption has been expertly written by the writers, and Monday's reward is sure to be amazing. Steffy has every right, in my opinion, to be scathing at both Luna and Finn. The poor woman has endured so much with Sheila, and now she has to cope with her husband's fear of another biological relationship? It is unreasonable to expect anyone to do that. Not to mention that this is the Cliff House in question. Steffy has experienced a great deal of trauma there throughout the years. Instead of being a site where her kidnappers might stop by for coffee and family time, her home should be her haven. What are your thoughts? Is Finn really chatting to Luna and making a huge mistake? Does Steffy have the authority to exclude her entirely from their lives? Does Sheila have any influence behind the scenes? I'll be watching Monday's show with a box of Kleenex and a huge bowl of popcorn, anticipating what seems to be one of the most heated confrontations in recent B&B history. Please share your theories in the comments section below. Finn's impossible mission, Carter's spy game, and Hope's vow. According to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, a teaser clip for the week of May 12, 2025, has been made public. It depicts Hope Logan, Annika Noel, promising Liam Spencer something. Carter Walton, though, overhears. Daphne Rose takes advantage of a chance. In addition, Liam looks to John Finnegan to fulfill his final desire. Let's discuss the upcoming events in the CBS soap opera as you continue reading. Logan's vow, I hope. Hope will now sit with Liam as they talk about the inoperable brain tumor after Steffy Forrester Finnegan revealed Hope the truth about Liam's illness. Liam may not like that Steffy betrayed him, but she had a valid purpose for doing so. Hope tries to tell Liam that she just wants to be with him and doesn't want to waste any more time away, but Liam is staring at her as if she's crazy. Walton's spy game by Carter. Carter is upset when he hears Hope declare her love for Liam, but he still wants Hope even if Daphne Rose, Muriel Hilaire, would try to take advantage of the situation to get her man. Unfortunately, Carter overhears Liam and Hope having a private chat. Carter also admits to Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, later this week that he still hopes to work with the discredited designer. The pressure of Daphne Rose. Carter has made it apparent that he still has feelings for Hope, but Daphne doesn't seem to receive the message. Daphne will continue to press her pouty lips to Carter's mouth while begging him to put his past romantic interest behind him. Daphne doesn't mind appearing foolish because she wants Carter for herself. However, Carter may grow increasingly irritated the more insistent Daphne becomes. It's possible that Carter is initially drawn back toward Hope because of Daphne's pushiness. It shouts desperation and low self-esteem rather than bold, independent, passionate woman. The impossible mission of John Finn. According to teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Liam will make a particular request of Finn while he is in the hospital. Liam wants Finn to swear that once he leaves, he would ensure that Hope and Steffy have forgiven one another. Putting on the good doctor is a big request, and Finn doesn't think it's feasible. But Finn can't refuse a dying man, so he'll probably just say try his best. After learning more about Liam's terrible medical news, Hope will want to do everything in her power to help him, according to previews for The Bold and the Beautiful. Steffy Forrester knew there would be repercussions when she made the painful choice to inform Hope Logan of Liam's failing health. The delicate silence Liam had requested her to maintain would be broken, she knew. However, she was unable to completely predict, the emotional conflagration it would cause, not only between her and Liam but also throughout the Forrester-Logan-Spencer circle. The question lingered in the air like smoke from a long-simmering fire. Did Steffy do what any human being with a heart and a conscience would do, or did she betray Liam? We must go back in time to completely comprehend the significance of Steffy's choice. Liam had pleaded with Steffy to keep quiet after being recently diagnosed with a serious, potentially fatal illness. He was always the martyr and the protector, and he didn't want Hope to be troubled by the thought that their time together might be coming to an end or to bear the burden of his fate. He saw keeping the truth from her as a last act of love, protecting her from the suffering he thought she didn't have to endure. However, Steffy was aware that time was running out and that the weight of this secret was weighing her down as she watched him becoming weaker every day. Her initial devotion to Liam turned into a silent conflict as she struggled to decide whether to comply with his request or respect the lady who was entitled to know. It wasn't a triumphant day when she told Hope. It wasn't a gotcha moment or a self-righteous statement. It was an honest confession filled with tears from a woman who had done everything she could to avoid feeling guilty. Hope's response summed it up perfectly: denial at first, followed by shock and finally a kind of numb destruction that words couldn't repair. She was caught off guard and felt deceived by Steffy as well as Liam. Hope was broken by the anguish of not knowing sooner, of not being able to support him during the diagnosis, and of having his destiny concealed from her. And Steffy had to take it all in while standing there. Was it betrayal, then? Yes, some would say. Liam was clear about what he wanted. Perhaps the final remnant of his sense of agency, he trusted Steffy with something very intimate. She broke a precious trust by disobeying that. To him, it was about robbing him of his final chance to shield Hope from suffering, not just about betraying a vow. His response to learning of Steffy's actions was one of crushed, hollow disappointment rather than rage. That was more painful. It was the kind of letdown that results from sadness rather than malicious intent. The type of person who says, "I thought you would understand me. And you didn't." However, treachery is a sign of selfishness, although Steffy's actions were not selfish. On the other hand, you could fervently contend that Steffy's decision was not treachery. It was bravery. She had to put aside her concern about losing Liam's trust in order to do what was right out of love. Hope was entitled to be informed. Not only does she love Liam, but they have a life together, a kid, and a complicated past that makes it unacceptable to conceal a terminal illness from her. Steffy understood that Hope's right to decide how she would spend her last days with the man she loved was at stake, not simply Liam's decision. Steffy couldn't be involved in the theft of time, which is what it would be to withhold it. In all honesty, Steffy didn't want to deliver the news. She hoped Liam would find the courage, clarity, and strength to tell Hope on his own. He remained resolute despite her gentle and eventually stronger prodding. Steffy understood he might never tell her as his health deteriorated, his energy level dropped, and the gleam in his eyes faded. And she was unable to live with that. Because Steffy has a strong sense of loyalty despite her difficult decisions and staunch individuality. The harsh reality that sometimes doing the right thing involves breaking the law is hidden in that loyalty. Loyalty to one person might occasionally result in harm to another. Anger, bewilderment, and sadness were the layers of Liam's response to the revelation. Despite his suffering, he was able to comprehend why Steffy did it. There was no agenda, no malevolent intent. It was merely a desperate and unvarnished move to ensure Hope knew the truth before it was too late. Perhaps purpose is the final factor that distinguishes betrayal from love in this situation. Steffy didn't act spitefully, jealously, or with retaliation. Because she couldn't stand to see Hope living in the dark, she took action. She took action because she thought Hope should have the freedom to decide for herself how to spend what could be Liam's last chapter. The repercussions have been enormous. Hope is currently battling not only the diagnosis but also the psychological effects of being excluded from the discussion for such a long time. She is doubting everything, including her friendship with Steffy, her love, and her faith in Liam. However, beneath the uncertainty and rage lies something else: thankfulness. She understands how grateful she is. She has time. That she is able to accompany him. And inside that silent appreciation is the implicit recognition that, despite the suffering, Steffy's actions could have been the most courageous thing anyone has done in this convoluted triangle in a long time. Ultimately, Steffy's choice was neither honorable nor flawless. It was dirty, human, and emotional. People are divided on this type of decision. Some see it as betrayal, while others see it as redemption. But there's no denying that Steffy accomplished what Liam was unable to. She told Hope the truth. And that sort of ruthless honesty could be the greatest act of love ever in a world where secrets are valuable and manipulation is commonplace. Carter Walton was plunged into a familiar emptiness after Hope struck him with the devastating blow, telling him unequivocally that her heart still belonged to Liam, even if those days were numbered. He had seen this emptiness all too often on the streets of Los Angeles, where loyalty seemed like a mirage and love seemed ephemeral. But it was different this time. Not only had a woman promised him a new beginning after months of secret tension, whispered admissions, and almost promising kisses, but she had also blindsided, humiliated, and emotionally abandoned him. For once, Carter had let himself think that he was someone's first choice, that he could live a life other than performing weddings and assisting other men in obtaining the women he so desperately desired. Carter didn't return to the gym, the workplace, or even his best buddy Ridge for guidance after Hope left, leaving him with the sound of her regrets and the distinct finality of her departing steps. No, he turned to Daphne, who was unexpected. Daphne had spent too much time in the background. She had always stayed in the background, managing damage control with steely resolution. She was a calm and subtly perceptive public relations consultant hired by Forrester Creations amid one of their several media problems. She had witnessed every betrayal, confession, and broken relationship, though, and she had grown to feel a quiet sympathy for Carter, even if he was unaware that she was observing. That night, when he showed up at her apartment, soaked, bewildered, and broken from a rare L.A. storm, she remained silent. She opened the door for him. The silence between them as she shut the door after him was the first hint of something that nobody anticipated. Carter had always been composed, well-groomed, and buttoned up. But he fell apart with Daphne. Surprisingly, Daphne too made no attempt to correct him. She made no concessions or suggestions. Before he could answer, she poured 2 glasses of whiskey and sat with him in quiet till the tempest inside him and the storm outside subsided. It wasn't just about Hope when he did. It was about all the women, Maya, Zoe, Quinn, Katie, and now Hope, who had made other choices. He began to wonder whether there was anything about him that made him unlovable because of the pattern. Daphne did not recoil. She also didn't encourage his self-pity. She suggested that he might have continued to choose unavailable women because he was terrified of being noticed, something no one else had the courage to do. That perhaps the drama was the attraction rather than a byproduct. Hearing that was like swallowing glass for Carter. It sliced through years of denial, but it hurt too. He discovered footing in Daphne's honesty, which was more stable than the intense flings he was accustomed to. He continued to appear during the following days. He initially said it was merely for conversation. He gradually stopped acting, though. Careful but not uncaring, Daphne allowed him entry, but only on her terms. She wasn't Hope. After their entire world collapsed, she wasn't waiting for someone to pick her. She insisted on being present. And Carter stayed, for once. Neither of them missed the irony. Carter and Daphne were creating a slower, more subdued plot while the Forresters and Logans were preoccupied with Liam's terrible deterioration, Hope's heartbroken dilemma, and the strained reunion between Brooke and Ridge. However, that didn't lessen the drama. Because Carter's prior loves tormented him as he started to feel something genuine for Daphne. Hope in particular. It continued reopening wounds to see her every day at Forrester, to watch her break down with shame as Liam became ill. Daphne caught sight of it. She sought for clarification, but she never asked him to dispute it. Not a man like Carter, whose heart had been a revolving door for women who left him with nothing, would be helped by her. Carter was aware that this was his time. He made a choice that mirrored who he wanted to be, not to pursue another fantasy or lament what might have been. Thus, one evening as Daphne was cooking dinner in her little but cozy apartment, Carter did something out of the ordinary. He didn't tell her he loved her, he didn't kiss her in front of the lights, and he didn't start talking about soulmates. Rather, he inquired about her preferred method of cooking the steak. A straightforward query. However, it was a straightforward promise: I'm here. I recognize you. I will remain. Their romance didn't blow up in Los Angeles. Social environment. No headlines were present. No familial conflicts. However, it was groundbreaking for Carter. He discovered the true meaning of intimacy away from the chaos with Daphne. He discovered that daily presence was more important than lofty pronouncements. That he might learn how to create something lasting from the woman who supported him when he had nothing left to give. However, peace never lasts forever in the world of the bold and the beautiful. Hope started to rely on Carter once more, but only a little, as she continued to fall under the weight of Liam's illness. Not first, not romantically. Comfort only. Acquaintance. I'm sorry. And much though he didn't want to, Carter, ever the empath, found himself pulled in again. Daphne took note. He wasn't accused by her. She didn't plead. However, she asked him one thing one evening as they watched the sun set from her rooftop: would you go if Hope said she wanted you tomorrow? The ensuing quiet spoke louder than any statement ever could. Carter remained silent. Because he secretly didn't know. It turned out to be the pivotal moment. A reckoning, but not the end. Quietly strong, Daphne informed him that she would not compete. That she already knew the answer, if he had to consider it. For the first time, Carter pleaded with someone to stay. Knowing her value, however, Daphne said her go. Carter is now a man divided between the lady who attempted to mend his broken heart and the one who caused it. Hope's guilt may or may not turn into love. Daphne might or might not go on. However, Carter is at a turning point. Even the most subdued relationships can blossom into the most spectacular tales in the world of the bold and the beautiful. The question of whether Carter is ready to put aside his ghost chasing and chose someone who is truly in front of him, rain or shine, is more important than just determining who he loves.